Today, we're talking about Gold Clip from Schwab Digital. Let's get into it.
Blessons did it.
What's going on, fam? It's your boy Blessons back with another video. And today we're going to break down this new plugin by Schwab Digital, but also I'm going to show you how I'm using it and why you would want to use a plugin like this. Now, it's marketed as a mastering plugin, right? But I'm using it in a mixing sense, and I think this is something you'll be able to use going forward to your advantage. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Pro Tools and let's get straight to it. All right, now this is the plugin here. It's a clipper, but it's modeled over the Lavery. Right now, if you know anything about converters, Lavery are one of the most pristine converters that are available. They're between 8 and 10K, right? So they're pretty expensive. I have noticed that there has been a few other replications of Lavery converters or Lavery clipping capability coming out lately. I think Acoustica had one, and maybe I'll do a review over that later on. But what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to go over all these settings for us. But the first thing I want to do is I want to show you how I'd use this, or how I'm using this. Okay, so I have this on our drum bus. Okay, and what I want you to pay attention to is I'm going to play this first bypassed. Okay, and you see the bypass button here. All right, I want you to pay attention to this number right here. It says 142. Okay, especially when the 808 comes in. All right, then we're going to go ahead and play it again with it engaged, and you're going to see the difference, and then we're going to discuss it. All right, so let's go ahead and play it bypass first, and here we go. So first things first, if you're not a Pro Tools user, what this number is the peak that this track is hitting, okay? So right now, it's peaking at -2.3, all right? Now we're gonna unbypass it. We're gonna do the same thing. Let me reset this, and I want you to see this. Okay, so doesn't take a rocket scientist, right? What is the reason that we even use this clip, or that I'm even using it? It's a control mechanism, right? The more we control the dynamics of our drum bus, or whatever the case that we're working on, before it even goes into our master sub or our sub bus, whatever the case is, the louder we're going to be able to overall get. Okay, so what this is doing is controlling it and adding a little grit to it. Right now, how am I doing this? That's going to segue us into these actual settings here that we have on that Gold Clip. All right, now I'm going to be able to explain to you exactly what I'm doing here as I'm going through the settings. Okay, so first things first is you have this tone box, or box tone. It's a linear phase EQ. Okay, and it's going to shape the top end of the converter. Okay, so you have a classic mode, modern mode, and flat. Flat is not going to mess with the high end at all. And in this case, I'm working with different frequency ranges in the drum bus, so I want it to be flat. I don't want it to roll off anything. Okay, now in the clipper mode, they have 3 different versions as well. You have classic, you have modern, and you have hard. Now, it's recommended in the manual when you're wanting to basically just affect the peaks, right? Whatever is clipped after the signal, but not anything after, it says to use hard. Let me play it with hard so you know what I'm talking about here. So here we go. So as you can see here, it's only affecting the signal that goes above that clip. So hard has definitely more of a harder knee as to classic and soft. It's more softer, right? Now gold is basically a form of compression. The unique thing about it is it doesn't take attack and release times into consideration. So it's more of a sample by sample based compression. And the unique thing with it is when you start to dial it in, it's going to basically turn the level up, the RMS. You're going to hear, especially on the low end, you're going to be able to hear it more, and it's going to turn the lower signals up a little bit. So it can potentially raise your volume, which brings me to the Unity. Okay, so when you're dialing in gold, most of the time you want to use the Unity function. It's going to keep it at the same gain stage and it's going to offset it. Okay, as to when you're using a mastering synth, you're going to want to take that off. What it's going to do is, as you turn this up and you have Unity, it's going to turn the sound up of the lower sounds, but it's going to turn the peaks down. As to if you take Unity off, the peaks are going to stay where they're at, but the loudness is going to get louder. And that brings me to the modern and classic. Modern is going to turn up the gain volume into the compression at a lower rate than it would on the classic mode. Okay, so modern, I believe it's 2.5 dB, as to classic can go up to 6 dB. And then that brings us to alchemy. A lot of times when you start clipping things, right, what happens is the higher frequency ranges will start to distort a little more. It'll be harsher, right? Well, with this alchemy, what it's going to do is it's going to offset. The higher you get to the 0 mark with the clipper, it's going to turn anything under 1K down subtly. So feeding into that clipper, the mid and the high is going to be brought down a little bit to offset it. Of course, you have your input, output, you have wet and dry, so you can use it as parallels processing. This thing sounds very transparent but very pristine when you use it on a master bus. As a mixing engineer, you can definitely use this on your drum bus, your instrument bus, overall to get more of control with a more subtle sound rather than a real aggressive sound. Now, are you using Gold Clip? Have you used this thing yet? Leave me a comment below and let me know if you're using it and what your thoughts are on it, okay? As you guys know, I go by the name of Blessons. Anything you need to know about me will be in the link in the description. Remember to always, always, always trust your ears, and I'm out.
Blessons did it.